Okay, hello everyone and welcome to today's randomised gaming stream. I am your host for this gaming stream, Random Gamer Riven, and this will also be the last concurrent week stream, as I will be taking next week off, and then we're going to think about what will we still want to be streaming during the summer weeks or not during, because it's getting quite hot and sticky, and a lot of people I suspect are probably going out as well this time of year. However, I thought we'd do some interesting things this week's stream. So today we are doing Shanghai Triple Threat. Now the Shanghai series is basically based on the Mahjong tiles. Now Triple Threat was the first of the Shanghai games released on Sega Saturn. The series probably isn't particularly well known in Europe. In fact, this is the first game we at Randomised Gaming actually now own. There is one on the Master System in Europe. I probably should try and grab that at some point, but pretty much there's one actually on the Master. There's at least one on the Master System, Mega Drive, Sega Saturn, and Dreamcast. There's actually three on the Saturn. Two were Japanese only, and there's also one in. And there's ones on PC, quite a few arcade games as well. Basically, this is a matching tile game using the Mahjong colour set. Now, this is original mode, so I can just show you all the various options. So you get preferences, so we can have animation on, sound on, music on. We can actually change the music, which I'll leave there. You can change the tiles, so I'll just show you. You've got the classic Mahjong tiles. I actually find them a little bland, and you've also got music tiles. I'm going to stick with the Zodiac tiles, but you can change the tiles. We can also change the background, so we've got Shanghai, great, long, and the pictures, they're actually pictures, so and they've been used in game. Can't say they're the greatest pictures in the world, and you can actually change your pointer and the wand as well. We've got the layout. And it actually changes the base mode. So this is actually the original game, which basically allows you to change the number of players. The difficulty changes everything. I'm going to jump out of the base mode. This is just a great way to show you that you can just jump around. So I'm just going to quit game a second. So just to confirm, Shanghai Triple Threat was developed by, or released, it was partly developed, and basically Activision are the IP holders of this, and every single one of the games released in it is actually an Activision game. So this is actually quite a strong Activision Japanese only franchise. It does go, there was one in... And there goes my tea cozy. Let me just grab that. But there was actually one released pretty much. There's been one released every decade. I think the most recentest one I saw was about, I think maybe about 2015 or something. But it started out in 1989. I think it's probably not as profitable as it was once, although there's probably still a market for this type of sort of puzzle game. It's interesting, Activision have perhaps let this franchise slide a bit rather than sort of developing. I mean, you could do a modern game of this really, really nicely, include Mahjong and everything, and actually make it a bit more you don't need to make it... Let me rephrase it, maybe direct it a bit more at Western and Japanese audiences. So include all the classic Mahjong tiles, but include sort of Western tile sets as well, a bit like this. So there are basically four games. You get classic Schengen, the Great Wall, Beijing, and Golden Tiles. Now this is arcade mode. So arcade mode basically gives you a timer. Incidentally, this game was actually, although it was released on Sega Saturn first, it appears, it was subsequently ported to the STV arcade game. So Sunsoft are the Japanese publishers, although they seem to have sub-licensed it with Activision, as most of the games are Sunsoft and Activision. The developers, it suggested it's Sunsoft, Activision, and Success Corporation of Cotton fame are also credited in the manual, so there's quite a few companies that worked on this. So it was originally released in 1995. Apparently this was one of the games that was originally scheduled for the American launch, but then got released slightly later after the American launch was brought forward. The original Japanese version was sort of in 1995, sort of right at the start of the year. I think it was about around February. So let's do golden tiles. I think this may be a 2-player mode. This is the one I haven't. Because the golden tiles is a 2-player mode, as I don't have a buddy to play with at the minute. So I'm going to show you arcade modes that has a sort of progressive ladder. So let's do classic Shanghai first. Now the STV arcade mode does with a few additional changes. In the arcade mode, this map has transparent clouds that, in the arcade version, the transparent clouds that fly over. A bit of trivia I noticed when I was watching the arcade version. Although I didn't think the tiles looked quite as good in the arcade version. I thought they looked a bit more, slightly better. So the aim is literally it's a matching tile game. Now, I showed you in the original mode, but basically there are 4 of each tiles and you need to make sure you match them up correctly. You can only take a tile if you can effectively move it left or right. There cannot be a tile on top of it, and it must be able to, there can't be tiles blocking it left or right. Tiles up and down are irrelevant. Basically it doesn't matter if there's a tile above it or below it. That doesn't matter, you can still take a tile. Basically if you have to be able to be slid left or right. Now, one of the things that can be a little annoying to judge the height of the tiles, but just to give you an idea, I can then start matching. Now, one of the key factors, you need to pay attention to what tiles are underneath as well, to make sure you have a habit, you don't get a case of the same tile being on top of it, else you have to be really careful with how you take them, as if you can take the wrong set. If you take 2 tiles and there's 2 on top of one another, then you've already taken the 2 in play to remove the other 2, then you are effectively screwed, for want of a better word. So in this one, the first one, I can see we've got the ball there. So case in point here with the lobster, we can see there's 2 on top of each other. So if I was to use this lobster to take the other lobster somewhere and not that one, I would then basically game over myself. Now, you do get time back in this mode as you take them, but you do have to be really quick. I find this arcade mode very, very tricky. It really is a pure race against the time. So there, we've got them there. Also, there's 4 special tiles in the zodiac thing. They are the stars and the birds. And basically, what that means is there's only one of it. There's 4 birds, 4 star constellations. They can be taken up at any 2 pairing there. So there goes 2 of the birds. I can pair them up directly. As you see there, there's not duplicate birds. Basically, same with the star constellations. And there they go. They can be paired up with any one of them. Now what you want to do is basically clear these top tile areas, but leave these separate areas, because these are basically what I call safe areas, that they can take any block. And what I mean by that is that basically once you've taken the block, these 2 I can take either or, but I'm not going to take them until I know where the last one of these, or they've got one there, so I could take 2 once I've got the last lobster out of the way. So you do have help and you do have back, but you really need to save those backs, because you need to. If you make a mistake, often you'll find you need to really be thinking ahead with the mistakes. So, just having a look, I'm going to think I'm quite limited with moves at the minute. Let's get that one. Take that. There's the other arrow. Okay, so I can take that one. Got constellation, got tiger, just trying to see if I can get away with not taking that. Yep. I've only been playing this for a few days, but it's actually it is actually quite a good game. It's probably a series we should probably pick up more. Initially, normally when I hear the word Mahjongs, I get absolutely terrified. Shanghai is a slightly different, basically is sort of a puzzle matching game. Consider it the solitaire of Mahjong tiles. So there are actually 3 Shanghai games released on the Saturn. They're all published by Activision and Sunsoft. I'm not sure if they're all developed by Success, but there is 3 of them. Strangely, I saw one was actually released the same year as this one. One was released in sort of early. Oh, this is the only one that got a Western release, and I say Western, I should say North American only release. It did not get a European release, and it annoys me when people say a Western release and referring it to America. No, if it didn't get, you only say it gets a Western release if it gets a European and American release. It's European. This one is a This one is a North American only release. It did got released in Europe. If you run out of time, you get infinite continues. The only negative is you lose your score. I think I'm going to have to take those 2. Because I need to 3 some of these up to actually get... Okay, so here's where I need to be careful. So this one, I don't really want to take with that one, because that... I think I've got that one there. Really want, yeah, so I want that one to take that one. Let's see if I can speed up this up a bit. That one, that can't take. That one with that one. So basically I'm clearing up the, can I take that one and that one? Yep, so that's all the star constellations gone. Okay, there's the 2 lobsters. Can I take that crab? Do I want to take, let's go with that crab. Just take that lion there. You get that and take that one. Now, as you see there, I've got a ram on another ram, so I need to make sure that I haven't already taken the rams. If I have taken the other rams, I am foobarred completely. And I can't see. Have I already taken the rams? No, because I've got 2 there. Good, good, good. Some of the constellations do give you more time back. But as you can see there, I am rapidly. Let's take those 2. So that one. That one. We've got that one and that one. Ideally, you want to leave these ones to last. Basically, these are safe ones, effectively. They're not going to interfere with anything. You want to get the tiles off the board first. That's one of the first things I realised. You want to get tiles off the board first, off a main board. Ones that are hindering, ones that is effectively you can go without doing anything. You want to try and leave, because they may be ones, but do keep an eye on. So I'm going to run out of time. Basically, I can continue in a sec. But I'll just show you the help, because that will reset. So basically, the help highlights every block. So I can see there. I need to now again here we have 2 overlapping, so I need to make sure that's with that one, else otherwise. No more time. Continue. Yes, all it does is reset my score, basically. And there we go. So got another lion, another goat. We've got a bull. That bull I really want to get rid of. Let's get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. That one. We've already gotten rid of those 2, so let's get rid of those 2. Basically, you want to make sure there are 4 of each tile except for the constant. So basically, once you've gotten rid of 4 of them, you know you're clear to go. But you always want to keep. So here we've got the horses. So I really want to get rid of that bull. Actually, that bull is quite irritating. The Gemini ones as well. Okay, we've got Gemini there. This is the zodiac, so you're getting all the zodiac star signs, I should say. So Libra, Taurus, Pisces, or I can't remember them all. Mine is the. No, I won't tell you my star sign. Let's take that one there. Okay, what have we got in play? I need to find enough. The other goats begin to become a bit of an annoyance. Let's use a help, see what we've got. Now I want to get rid of that goat. It's becoming a real hindrance. I'm just going to use another help. Oh, by the way, this one does nothing. This one is a reset, so no. Also acts as a pause. Well, you can just do pause. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Those two. I need to get rid of that ball. In order to get rid of that ball, okay. Now here's where things get a bit ugly. So now this is not looking particularly very good because I've got blocks on top of one another that I need to get rid of other blocks to access. I think I'm screwed. So in order to 3 that one, I need to get that goat. In order to 3, unless I can get... Oh, yes, I might just have a saving grace here. Now again, that's why you didn't want to match those two. Can I get hold of the goat? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so that can give me that one. That can give me that one. That can give me that one. So those two can go. Clears the top. Gives me the ball. That can give me those two. Okay, so there again, you don't want it. That's why you wanted to leave those edge ones out, so that way I can get rid of those two because I couldn't take the next one up. So I can take those two. Now. So here's where I need to think slightly hard about what I'm going to take. Okay, that one, those two, those two. Okay, those two, that includes that, those two. Those two. So now I can do those two. Yep, we're done. Okay, so that's an example. That's how you beat the first stage in the game. And now we move on to the second. I'm actually going to come back because I've got passcode for jumping in later on in the game. But I'll show you the different modes. Effectively, it's just random puzzle tiles now to all 30 stages. You can change the puzzle. If you fail, you can change. You can choose to repeat the puzzle, or you can change it if you don't particularly like it. But effectively, it's pretty much the same thing. There are a few slight graphical changes with the arcade version. So I mentioned you had clouds on the map screen, although I think the tiles look slightly better. I'm going to quit. And I'll show you the other two modes. They're largely the same, but it's worth me showing you just so you see the difference. Interestingly, on my CRTV it looks like there's slightly stuttering. Now that I realise I've seen it on the open source scan converter, the scrolling isn't stuttering. It's probably more the settings I've got for the scrolling on the CRT. I thought it might be a sign of the incorrect matched crystal speed. Certainly there should be a slight stutter. Based on the fact that a power modded Saturn shouldn't in theory be able to match, doesn't quite match the NTST, at least on not every game. I'm not entirely sure whether the Sun games run at slightly different speeds, so because the Saturn's crash bang wallet again, my cup of tea, apologies about that, my cup of tea keeps getting stuck to the bottom of my tea cozy. I'll just put it over here on the stool for a second, so we don't get any more crash wallet. Now, on the face of it, this is very similar. This, however, is a huge wall, and what that means is that I need to find matching tiles, and when I do, so if I just demo, so again, although I shouldn't really do this, boom, you see they fall down, so giraffe on the side there. Yep, let's do that. Got 2 constellations. Basically, this one is very much. I mean, it's interesting. It's not your conventional game, but it's I was quite surprised. It's not bad. I probably should have a look at some of the other Shanghais. It's actually quite fun. Certainly, I mean, it's not your crash bang wallop game, so to speak. It's not a high velocity impact title. It's not a game that's going to get your heart pumping from sort of adrenaline rushes, or some intellectual story that makes you have some plot story that makes you think, but it's just a straightforward, fairly easy to play puzzle game. Now, I probably actually want to avoid doing stuff like that where you're getting them locked behind one another. Let's do the other fish. Ideally, you do want to make sure you knock out the cards so that they. We've got a bear. Have we got a ball? Yeah, we have got a ball. You see that you have got to balance. This mode is the sort of Great Wall mode, so everything's falling. So my trouble spot is these ones here. They're all I want to be careful of. Again, I've got these ones here that will lock together. You have to think a little bit about where the blocks are going to fall. So give me a constellation. Let's get rid of the dogs. Get rid of those two. Get rid of those two. I think if you're quick enough, you can get them while they're falling as well. Left trigger does speed up the pointer. I mean, it's an odd Saturn game, I will say. I'm surprised Activision released this game in the North Americas, or North America. So the Americas, I should say, and then North was released. This certainly didn't get a European release. And I will admit, it's probably not the most graphically prowess game to release your console, so in that respect, but it's not a bad title. Whether it would have got, it's one of those games that I think probably would have got a bit slated on release, I suspect. With people being like, oh, it's Mahjong, it's just a 2D game, could have been done on the Mega Drive, SNES, blah blah blah. And I do really hate that attitude of, oh, it could have been done on blah blah blah. Well, actually, what matters more is if it's a good game. And there was, I think this is the type of game that should, if it was, I don't know what the price it was actually released in North America. I'd hope it was kind of a budget-ish price. It's not the type of game I think really warrants a full price, so to speak. It certainly doesn't warrant a full price, but there's nice enough music. I've picked the tune that I quite like the most. Some of the other music was a bit grating when I heard it earlier. In this mode you do need to consider where they're going to fall as well. That will impact the tiles. Do need to consider this. So it's quite a nice game in terms of the amount of content. You get a lot of content in this, I will admit. So there, I can get rid of the 4 of them. Just get rid of... those ones. I think I'm good for this unless I make a mistake with them falling and block one another. Yeah, I think this mode is the actual Great Wall mode is pretty much the one you have to be the most careful of, because you can possibly block yourself off right at the end if they fall in a weird way, the blocks. That's probably easier to master than the base Shanghai. The first few hours of me playing the initial Shanghai, I was just like, what's going on? Why do I keep failing? It was one of those like, okay, this is what I've got to figure out, these patterns. And what I figured out was you need to look at the blocks underneath in Shanghai to make sure you've not got the same tiles on top of one another. And you also need to keep blocks that were basically in safe areas that were easy to remove. They needed to remain for as long as possible. So that's Great Wall. There's a lot of options though, and there's a lot. The story mode requires you to do, well, I think there's 90 in it, so you've got 90 different, and then the original mode's basically just got random puzzles to your heart's content. So this one we can actually slide tiles along to one another and click on them. So this one's probably, Beijing mode is probably the easiest because you get to, but again we get the map as you can see there, and again you have 30 stages to come. This is yeah, stage 30 will be the palace. Probably to actually change tile set for the next. I might change the tile set for a bit so you can see some of the other tile sets. And yes, as you see there, in Beijing mode, you automatically certain tiles automatically match, so it automatically fires them off. So we've got 2 there, got 2 there. This is by far the easiest mode. The main thing about this mode is you can move them along as well. But before I start moving them, I'm going to try and eliminate all the side ones out. Not quite got the ball there. archer. So here I go. So I'm just going to look for a matching to. So I can actually do it here, raise it up to there, and bingo bongo. And this one I can pull this one down, and away it goes. So this one is by far the easiest mode, probably the most fun as well because you have more control. I kind of regard this as a sliding puzzle. This is probably the easiest mode to win and the hardest one to fail. So let's see how I got. Oh yeah, that one's like that one down. I've basically been playing this for past couple of days, so I've rapidly built up strategies for how to actually play this, which is interesting because it's one of those tactical games, very much something that I quite enjoy. Initially it's one of those games that took me a little while to master, and as you can see there, the timer clock is constantly ticking down, but again, as this is quite easy, it's not that hard to some horses I'm looking for. I've got to look quickly for matching stuff, so again, you've got to look at space as well, so I know I can't reach that one there. I'll set those ones. Just show the help in this one, so it's showing you where I can match them. Move that one along. Basically, you're looking for patterns to move along. As long as you don't have to move a block, 2 blocks to one another, you're pretty much good. But once they start getting edges, you can also click on them as well. So as mentioned, this one's by far once you start clearing the spaces, it's basically a case of clearing the spaces and then you can click on them as well. So see if I get one couple to click on, but I don't appear to have any. Actually, I've got one. Actually, do I want to take? Okay, click on those two there. So that's the other thing, is once you start clicking on them, I'm just going to speed this up a bit because this one is really, so again, there, 3 horse. Once you've played a few blocks, you'll usually find you've mainly got 3 stuff every. And again, you can slide that along. So it's worth considering where you've got the spaces and where you need to slide and where you don't need to slide. There, those 2 there, those 2 there. Those 2 then. Those 2. Those 2. As you see there, this one's by far the easiest mode. Once you clear out a few blocks, it's then just a case of pointing and clicking. It's right in front of me, I couldn't see it. I mean, it is, as mentioned, it is a quirky game. I think once you start getting into it, it's quite a good fun puzzle game, but it's not something that exactly was what I'd call a system seller, and it's certainly a game that you need to be a puzzle fan to like it, and you need to appreciate sometimes, how to say, non-conventional puzzle games, because this is not your conventional format. Should we use a vote? Those two. Yeah, those two. Those two. And those two. Where's the other? Fish, get rid of the archers. And now you see that I'm really nipping through them now. So, I mean, this one's quite not really is a nice, easy, by far the easiest of the game modes. In fact, I'd say if you were beginning to just do something, this is probably the first mode to start with, because this is by far the easiest to play. There's really a lot of room for error, unlike the main game. And there we go with that one. Okay, so we're about 40 minutes into the stream, so I can't, so I've shown off original mode. I'm actually going to change the tile set. I'm not actually that big a fan of the Mahjong. So, we want stereo audio. I'm actually going to carry on from where I left off in arcade mode, and we can play along with me, shout out. So I was a few way in, so you can get 2-player in every game. Golden Tiles, as mentioned, is 2-player only, it appears. So, and my current password was P5F, so yeah, not really that hard, the passcodes. There's only effectively 999 combinations, so relatively easy. There'll be more than 999, but relatively easy to guess them. Okay, so the special ones are the instruments. We've got the percussions and things, so let's start what we got. We've got 2 on top there. It's nice that you have the different tile sets. I will admit, I do find the Mahjong tiles a bit uneasy to look at because I'm not a Mahjong player, so for me these tiles are far more nicer. Okay, so where's the other O? O's I can't remember the names. One was this treble clef. That's about the only name off the top of my head I can remember. Ah, that's handy. We've got all of them. Okay, got 2 there. One thing we will say is do look around the board before you take... Okay, so are those 2 of the magical instrument ones? Yes, they are. So the instrument ones, and obviously these special coloured instrument ones as well, the special ones. Okay, so that one there with that one. As I said before, once we start building up the safe areas, so like these two, I'm not going to... I could use these two to take, but because they're not being blocked by anything, they'd be a waste because I really need them to take these ones from the main body, like so. Find where that other special instrument one is as well, so let's hope it's not under there. We've got to hope it's under somewhere like here. So I'll use those two because those two are blocking something. Oh, that one's blocking something as well, wasn't it, technically? Can I target that one? No. Can those two be done? Yeah. Okay, those two are actually the same. Confusing because those two are almost identical. That I believe is. Now the one thing I will say, something a bit confusing. They should slightly have angled it a bit more so it was clear the height of the pictures you were looking at. I was playing one version of this where it was really hard to tell the heights. That was actually a Microsoft version, but you have to use the help. I should say once you use the help, you can't use... Oh, I can't believe I missed those. You can't actually regain it. If you're still on the same credit, you won't regain the help until you have got to a bonus stage. Yeah, use that one to take that one. Select those two. Now that's a bit of a problem. You can be really careful with those ones. Yeah, these are problems because those two are under there. I need to know where the last. I can see from the shape that the two of those are under there, so I need to know where the last one is. And sometimes you are having to take, so that's a safe one. Oh, I know that because I've got a slight gap there. I need to be really careful and find out where the double. Okay. Okay, so that's actually that one that's got a double. It's been a long time since I remembered. I can basically remember the name for one of these was double clef or treble clef, and I can't remember much of my music. It has been a long time since I had a music lesson. We'll leave it at that. Okay, right. Right, I need to free up that C or this. Continue, yes. So basically, continue is all that occurs is your score goes back to 0. So here's where I need to make the important decision because I need to. No, this one's 3 now, isn't it? Good, good, good. I think that's 3. And just whack those two. That can be whacked with that one. The skin of my teeth stuff at the minute because I'm not sure whether we're going to. Oh, have we done enough? Okay, so those two are clear, and that means I can clear. Okay, yes, we're good. I can break the rest. Okay, so S81, I'm going to write that down quickly. Annoyingly, you can't access the password after this screen, so... And you only literally get, it's like, you get a quick bit to write it down and that's it. The plus side is, because I'm videoing this, I'll just pause that there a second, I can replay it. But this is... mainly how the game plays. I mean, it's not the most challenging game once you get used to it, but it is a case of figuring out what to take and what not. So that's actually a safe square. Oh, we've got all the bells of that. Okay, so I need to actually clear. these early tiles are the toughest ones, because sometimes you can make a mistake here that you're not aware of. So if I make a mistake, let's say one of these tiles was underneath it and I took the wrong one, you can effectively foobar yourself relatively early from the get-go. Like, I should probably can I take those two. Yeah. Okay, that's good. That means I can do that and then that to get rid of all four of them. But what you do have to watch is to make sure that if you have a blue one that looks like this, there's not one of the same colour underneath it. It's fair to say I expect most people watching this stream, even if I know we've got the guys watching it now, and even if you're watching this stream, say a month down the line, not many people will have probably, I suspect, played Shanghai or any of the games in the series. So it's actually quite an interesting. It's quite an interesting series. I think quite a few people will actually quite like it. But it's one of those games that you don't initially think about, because Mahjong. Because the minute you, the thing is, the minute you see the box, you see Mahjong, and Mahjong itself is quite an intense four-player game that we just don't play in Europe. Oh, I can take that one, yeah. Okay, yeah, I need to 3-up some of these top ones. They're probably the ones I'm probably most concerned about at the minute. Can't take that one still. A little bit of a dangerous play at the minute. Okay, let's do that. Still need to 3-up, so what we've got here. 10 to 3-up that one. Oh, that was a luck. That was a bit of a close one. So now I need to 3-up. It's all about looking to 3-up the blocks. Okay, so can I? Danger I've got there is horrible feeling I should have got rid of that one on the thing. I think I may have foobarred myself. Can't take that one. If you see what I need to take, shout it out. Even I'm running a bit. Like, what am I supposed to? Probably something I can take. I can't take these two yet. I need to clear up these top two. Well, that's going to give me some more helps in a second. I think I may be foobarred though. To clear these ones. A horrible feeling I may be foobarred. So if I click help, what have I got? Oh, come on! I could take in that one. It looked like there was a block on top of it. So that's one of the issues with the so that one I'm going to take there, because that one threes up that one threes up that one threes up those two, and then shoot those two. I'm still not out of the woods yet because I'm not entirely sure what's on top of what here. That one's okay, so that one being there is irrelevant because I know I've got a safe block there to remove it. But stuff like this, do I free up the C or do I clear that one there? This one, and I'll take those two. Yep. Okay, here's where things get a bit delicate. That one to that one. That gets me off those ones. So I'm still a bit concerned. I'm missing. See, okay, I am well and truly. And apologies for my slightly strong language. I've just realised I've already taken that slash, and this is what I mean about hidden blocks on top of hidden. We can see from here that is. I know I've already taken one of those, so I cannot get that one off that one. And this is going to end in pear-shaped tragedy very, very quickly. No more moves, yep. So that was the killer there, was the thing that got me. So I'm going to try the same pattern again. So yeah, you've got to watch that. That's what you've really got to watch. you've really got to pay attention with some of these. So again, try something 3 up. Really want to try and so let me 3 up that one. This is definitely a game where you've got to think a few moves ahead. So we know what my mistake was. My mistake was taking this one. I cannot take this one. This has to remain because we have a double layered version. B. Use this one to get rid of that one. As long as they can effectively slide left and right, that's when you've got a safe. So there, right to there, we've got those two. So now I can get the trump. This is where things went a bit pear-shaped before. Yep. Spray up those ones. Okay, so I've got these two right. This time I'm going to do it because we've got I can get rid of those two so they're no longer on top of one another, so that eliminates those two. That takes those two. I can now get rid of those two. Once I've done that, I can get rid of those two. This one thing is, I will say, the height can be a little bit difficult. It'd be nice if there was some sort of colouring or shadowing to the height of the blocks. It's not always clear what height is what, so I've got rid of two. You've got to remember which blocks you've gotten rid of. 2 of already, and which you still have all 4 remaining. In original mode you can actually see, which is quite helpful, but that option is not available in arcade mode. So now when my time's running low, I need to be quick. I can see there, there. Let's go, 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 go. Take those 2. Take those 2. Take those 2. Those 2. Those 2. Those 2, those 2 to go, those 2. Quick here. Time is definitely running short. Those 2. Those 2. We've got a lot of these are all doubled up under one another, as sure as you can see. And again, finally, we've got the 2 super blocks next to each other. Okay, so here we go, the bonus stage, if you progress enough. So, let's see, I've got to remember what we got. We have back +2, and we have back +1, okay. Back 2, back 1, help 2, 500. Back +2, yeah. 300. Oh, I guess. Oh, yes. Help +2. Oh, yes. This is that is a pure. I had 2 pure guesses there, so that was a pure fluke. I did that one perfectly. That is a perfect bonus stage. But you won't be doing that every time, as you only get 3 guesses, so you can only pick 6 cards. So, yeah, that was a pure fluke there. So, Vile, is that VIL or V1L? Well, I'll write it down. One thing I will say, you do need to be on the hand to remember what the passcode is, because it doesn't give you long. Attempt to change it back to the zodiac symbols. I actually prefer them. They're slightly easier to memorise. They're more my thing because I'm not that familiar with the music notes. So. Actually, I'll do one round quickly. I'll replay that round with the Mahjong tiles themselves. I've not played that, so options should be currently, so tiles, where is it? Let's do the cursor. Actually, let's do the pointer instead of the hand, and tile set Mahjong. Let's just do. I should do at least one match with the. Oh. Forgot to pick the right mode, so I'll do one match with the Mahjong, but I'll do the stage we were just at. I'll quit. But you see, there's quite a lot of options, and it's definitely a game, if you just fancy a quick play on something, this is an ideal Saturn game. I should note, this game appears to be incredibly small. In fact, the Saturn rarely ever spins in the disk drive. I think after a while it physically loads everything into memory. Once you actually got into the game mode, it literally, I think it's once it's loaded the music into memory, literally, it does not load. I remember before watching it thinking, hey, it's not loaded for like the past hour. Oh yeah, that's just load. Okay, I think there's one else. The 1 looks so much like an I in this. I'll just change it to a 1. That 1 is literally like an I. Here we go, the classic Mahjong titles, and you can see why I'm not a big fan of them. So there, got to actually pull out to remember which are the special ones as well. So basically, each set has 2, as I said, special sets. Just quickly pause that while I take out the manual. This is one game you do need to read the manual for, just to get yourself familiar with the pictures and which are the special sets, because so it's the seasons, images, and the flowers are all taken by each other. So basically, there are, so just to give an example of this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 standard sets where you need to match up the relevant pictures, and there are flowers and seasons where there are only 4 of them, and you can match any with the others. There's about 5 there. This is what I don't like when you get stuff like this early on. You've got, it's a case of which 2 do I want. They're not going to overlap, but it's best when you can clear all. Now that's another one. That one's not going to do me much clearing that. I suppose at this point I do need the block cleared. Just a quick gander around, see which of the ones I can think about. Yeah, shout out if you can see, but this is definitely one of the harder puzzles. This is where things start getting a bit more complex, and I'm not a fan, as I said, I'm not a fan of the Mahjong tiles because one there. We've got 3 there. This is literally tile by tile. No one moves. Yeah, this one's quite a tricky puzzle. Okay, so just to show you the sort of the standard original, we can try. In the original mode, you basically get to pick your tights again. So I'm just going to quick play around and go to the zodiacs. I can change the background, tile set. It takes a second to load in the tile set when you change it, but yeah, definitely I think the zodiac's the easiest. So does it give you the same tile layout? I think you can adjust it in the original mode to change the... So yeah, you've got a variety of layouts that you want to pick. So probably just palace. The other one we're just doing the palace one, icebreaker. Puzzler. Show the variety of ruins. Okay, let's go with the ruins one. So it shows you the huge amount of options both in the sort of original mode, which isn't timed, just lets you play at your own skill level, or also a great way to practice to get familiar with the game before you do arcade mode. Arcade mode does have a scoreboard, but to be honest, it's a bit weird. Strangely, there's not, and I said you have to record via passwords, which is a bit irritating. It's definitely, it's a really solid puzzle game. If you're a fan of this type of thing, I mean fans of anything like it, I think it's something worth trying out as well if you like the look of it. It's not a game everyone will have played because most people aren't that familiar in the West, as mentioned, with Mahjong. So, and this is not actually Mahjong itself; it's effectively its own game because it's a puzzle matching title. It's not Mahjong's actually played with 4 players. You can actually play it in some of the Yakuzis, and we were playing it in Justice, but Justice, which is a sort of semi-Yakuza game. Really good games, the Yakuzis, really good game. Justice as well, highly recommend on the PS4, but yeah, I'm not a big fan, I just cannot get my head quite around Mahjong. One of those ones you really need to spend time with. Let's see, dog. Shouldn't be so casual with some of the moves. I'm just literally clicking on some of them, which is not necessarily a good idea, because if you're casual with the moves, usually it's a recipe for a disaster along the lines. get rid of that lobster, but in order to do that, it's always a case of you do need to plan in this game 3 or 4 moves ahead, and you do need to be wary of. So one of the cool things you can actually do in this mode, this one gives you multiple health, so you can show all moves, move one back. In original mode, because it's basically like a practice mode, you can choose what you want to do. So you've got shuffle tiles, which is a bit cheeky. You can show what's left as well. So I can see I have 2 of those. That one's already gone, whichever one that was. I've got 2 of them, but I can also see which ones I've got 4 of as well. So you can see which ones you've got loads of them hid tucked away. Take that one because I'm not. Now that was a bit coy. It wasn't quite clear I could actually take that. There are a few where you're like looking at them going, I was not sure which ones I can take where, etc. And that was a case in point of that one. I'll do this puzzle and then I'll finish for the evening, which I think is probably a good point. It's nice to show off the different modes. We've been through all the games, so you've got a nice selection of stuff. As a puzzle game, it's basically a bit like, I mean, the manual refers to it as solitaire and Mahjong, which is really what it is. They're all stacked up. Although solitaire is pretty much pure luck, this is a bit more skill to it, but there's still some degree of luck. In theory, if you just did this yourself, building the blocks up randomly, you could end up effectively, because solitaire is pure luck if you can win it. You're entirely dependent on your moves can slightly affect it, but solitaire is purely that you need to make sure you get the right draw to begin with. Show all those. What have I got? Okay, I didn't think I had a lot. That's what I wanted, one of those. Get rid of that one. As a certain character said in Star Wars, we got a problem here. Yep, we've got a problem here, as they say. No more moves! No more moves! Dynamic. Oh. Okay, so that's... What do I have left? What's left. Yeah, so we've actually got this one, we've got some sneaky ones on top of one another, so almost certainly we've got two of those tucked on one another. I think though, let's try the shuffle tiles. Does that do? Aha! So you can cheat in this mode if you don't like the combo, so I don't think we've got many moves in this one either. It's not giving me a combo I can really work with, has it? I do show more moves. Yeah, let's shuffle tiles again. See if I can get one I can actually work with. But yeah, so the original mode's a bit cheeky. You can basically employ a few techniques in the original. So arcade mode, they're all preset and you won't be able to do it. But in the original mode, you can summon up shuffle one last time, see if I get a good draw I can actually work with. Doesn't shuffle them well, that's for sure. Okay, we've got a couple there. Got those two. I'll just keep shuffling till we can finish this puzzle naturally. No more moves. Okay, that's helpful. Shuffle tiles again. So the shuffle feature perhaps needs a slight bit of working out. Oh, come on, I need to get... Yeah, I won't actually shuffle tiles till I get a pattern I can actually work with. I need to get that one off the top there to really get working, so... Show moves. Yeah, I can't do it. I'm going to shuffle one so I can get that one off the top there and actually work with them. Huzzah! We actually have a pattern we can work with. At least get rid of some of them. Yes, the shuffle tile feature could be better, it's fair to say. It doesn't necessarily give you a winning those two. Those two. Yeah, the shuffle tiles feature obviously doesn't guarantee you a winning combo. That's one thing I would say. You kind of would have thought it would at least give you something to work with every time. Okay, here we go. Here's one that can actually work with. It's shuffled them. Yeah. There we go. Down to 0 puzzles. So there we go, choose a game. So basically that's this bit's actually a bit like a PC version with the original mode. You can literally go new game. Very much like a different game. Literally the fact that you got the mount golden tile. I think golden tile always requires, there's no AI, so I think golden tile always requires a second player. You know, I'm going to be cheeky and just do golden tile single. So I assume it's basically the first player to get down to the This does look very simple. I assume there's only... So I go... How does it show you? Show what's left? Does this split them? Oh, it shows you all the tiles on the board. So yeah, each player gets golden tiles, although I'm playing this single player, so it's me basically cheating. Because player 2 is never going to win. Player 1... Oh, so it's literally just reveal the golden tile and click on it. Obviously, it's completely random what you get. Okay, so that's an interesting mode. That's probably going to be quite quick, but probably quite-ish fun. Not that hard in 2-player mode. Relatively basic. So everyone, thanks for watching. I'm going to wrap up today's stream. So I will wish you a good night, a good evening, a good morning, or a good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Of course, I should have said at the beginning of the stream, I'm your host for this randomised gaming stream for the start of the week. Random Gamer Riven. I think you've all probably enjoyed this video, though. And I'm sure you by now you don't need me to introduce myself every time, seeing as I am your host for most of these audio videos. In fact, it's rare we have any other team members do them, so it's mainly me, Riven, doing these streams. But yes, I think it's been quite a fun stream. It's an interesting... It's actually not a bad game. You know, I know it's quite a cheap one as well. It's not... I mean, I suspect... The Japanese version is probably going to need a pen and paper to write down all the different menus, but other than the fact that there's not that many menus will be in Japanese, it's very playable and it's very good. So this is the North American version. Mentioned it was not released in Europe. It does feel a bit like a game that... Oh yeah, and I should say every game mode in this is 2-player as well, so it's a nice little package. I mean, yeah, this probably got a bit slated on reviews when it came out, saying, oh, it looks awful for a Sega Saturn game, it looks like a Mega Drive game, but you know, it's actually not a bad puzzle game. If you want something a bit different, then this is the game for you. It's a very nicely put together puzzle game, actually, so... certainly worth it. I mean, it is a North American English only title, so we didn't get it in Europe, as I mentioned. And you know what, it's probably, if you like a puzzle game, this is probably worth importing. I can't say what the Japanese version is. We've got the North American version here, but it's quite a good little puzzle game, and it's not that expensive to buy either. I've seen a few people selling it, and it's not that expensive. I mean, it's not your best example of an import, but it's a nice little quirky title, so it's definitely one working. It's not one of those... I'd say if you like the genre, it's worth picking up, because there are some titles that you see that people will import, and literally the only reason to import them is because they weren't released in your territory, because they're absolutely awful games. I mean, 3D Battle Sports is perhaps one of the infamous ones. That is now going for silly money. That was a North American exclusive. That was released in Europe on the PS1. For some reason the Saturn version never came out. I'm not sure why, because that was a point when Acclaim were releasing everything pretty much tandem on the PS1, so I'm not sure. Maybe they felt it was so bad. I only wonder if maybe Sega even said no, we're not having this, or whether it hadn't sold well, so they released it on the PS1. But yeah, it's very expensive now. That's probably about the worst of the US only imports. There are quite a lot of, I mean, there aren't a huge amount of games that got released in Europe that, no, I think basically it's the Mega Mans and a few of the RPGs, so Magic Knights Ray Earth and Albert Odyssey are the two sort of big ones that we didn't get in Europe. But yep, that has been Shanghai Triple Threat, a nice little puzzle game. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for joining me on the stream. I will see you all in tomorrow's stream. I've got no idea what it's going to be, but I have put out a call on the community page on the YouTube channel for suggestions for what you'd like us to stream, seeing as this is going to be my week before I take a week off. So if you've got suggestions for what you'd like me to stream, please do hit that. Hit your suggestions on the community page, just reply, and I will have a look and see what people suggest, and then we'll probably do something by the end of the week. Thank you all for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night, and I'll see you all in tomorrow's stream.